Hey everyone, how are you doing? The idea of this video is quite simple. Is it worth using Guard 5? For this, I'll be checking the main guard skills. I believe that it's pretty much self-explanatory. Guard, guard up, and offensive guard, along with some extra information for the lance. Most of this data is going to apply to weapons able to use guard. Either way, the last section is particular for the lance, in case you want to check something in specific. Let's start with the guard. This skill oftentimes brings some debates because there's people that say if you main the lance, you need to use guard 5, otherwise whatever you're using is trash. At some point I agree, and at some others I differ from that idea. In World, for example, my first approach, once jumping into G rank, Master rank, was trying to get guard 5, because guarding attacks is the most basic use of a weapon that has no movement. In all honesty, this is a really subjective topic, and let's find why. Sometimes there is a misconception about the guard skill. I've seen people say that it helps to reduce damage, and for this specific point I fought against our favorite B-52, Lord Bagelgoose. Because the interesting thing here is checking the amount of damage it deals with its finisher, or whatever you wanna call this. These are the results of every guard level, and the first one, receiving the hit as a champ. The results are the exact same in all of them. The only difference in reality is the knockback after receiving the hit, which is pretty much what the skill says it does. Then, in these images, we can check the difference between every guard level from 0 to 5. Something similar is going to happen with every weapon able to use guard. You name it: SNS, Charge Blade, Gun Lance, Lance, Greatsword. And with these images we can see that the most noticeable change is with Guard 3. Guard 4 and 5 have almost the same results. However, there is a little difference in the feeling while receiving the hit. In reality, with Guard 5 we are able to attack almost after receiving the hit, where in the other hand with Guard 0 it takes a while. Later, we will check another way to counter this as a lance player. So summarizing these guard results, Guard 3 is, let's say, the optimal level, but then again this is a really subjective topic, because we all have a different way to approach this game, and also it kinda depends from players' experience, because for example, I am much more efficient fighting Basil with Guard 0 than relying in Guard 3 or 5. Either way, I am not a speedrunner. The second skill is Guard Up. This is not a must in every battle, it depends who you're fighting. For instance, against Basil this skill has no purpose, because every single attack that Basil has, you can use your normal guard skills and that's it. However, this story changes against Basarios, Ragnar, Rayang, Teostra, just to put some examples. I will personally recommend it to use it at level 2, whenever you are fighting a monster with unguardable attacks. Not sure that word even exists, but you do get the idea. Once again, in these images you'll see the difference between the guard up 0 to 3 against Rayang. That of course is just an opinion. If you feel much more comfortable using defensive sets, it's pretty cool. Go for Guard Up 3. Then we have Offensive Guard. For this I'll also be checking different skills to increase damage, aside from heroics, because you need to know exactly what you're doing, otherwise you are pretty much screwed, and for a weapon with no movement I really mean it. The basic damage I was using was 218. Offensive Guard increases the damage by 15%. In the training room it was increased up to 246. Attack boost 7 with the same base damage increases it up to 246. Resentment up to 243 as well as Counter Strike. And Agitator to 238 plus 15% affinity. And from this, Offensive Guard and Attack boost 7 have the same results. However, Offensive Guard requires tier 3 slots, and those charms are so freaking rare that I would not precisely recommend this approach in terms of damage. Also, attack boost 7 is skill intensive, needing 7 freaking levels to get the best damage output. In the other hand, what I would recommend is relying on crits and crit boost, if possible, unless you are using a weapon with negative affinity. You may throw some more damage and it's going to work just fine. This of course requires a much deeper analysis, but going all out with the math it's going to take a while. So for the time being, nope, not really worth it. And for the last point, as a lance player there are ways to actually rely on specific movements to reduce a bit the knockback after receiving the hit. That is through power guards. They are not always the best option if you don't know how to time them right, because you consume your stamina like crazy. However, with guard 0 and using a power guard, you can reduce the knockback as if you were in between level 3 and 2 of guards. There is a delay whenever you use a power guard compared with guard 5. However, you are able to control the knockback a bit more if you prefer an offensive set. I hope this information is useful for those who like to experiment with mid sets and a bit of skills all over the place. Personally, I still say that this is a really subjective topic aside from guard up and offensive guard. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.